Hey everyone, I'm extremely blessed to be interviewing the incredible Melissa Gijsbers. Melissa is an amazing author. She has published 3 books and has had many short stories published in anthologies and journals. She has so many book ideas on the go and is currently putting together an amazing anthology for kids. I think Melissa is an inspirational author because of how she represents people living with chronic fatigue syndrome in her books 3, 2, 1 Done, which is great because representation absolutely matters. She also does workshops to inspire and motivate the next generation of young writers and readers. Melissa, thank you so much for letting me grill you.
Thanks for having me.
Are you ready to get started?
Ready when you are.
You love to come up with the wackiest ideas for stories for your nephews. What has been the craziest one so far?
Craziest one so far? Well, one that I'm working on at the moment is about a talking watermelon.
That's awesome.
So it's about a talking watermelon who grants wishes, and watermelons don't have ears, so they don't hear very well. So the wishes go a bit crazy.
That's awesome. I love that. You are creating an anthology for kids in your writing course. How is that going? Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah. The anthology is called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way To, and it's the ISO edition. And I came up with this idea during the first lockdown in Melbourne, or in Victoria, because we were all stuck at home, all feeling pretty, lonely and isolated and things. I thought there's got to be a funny side to being isolated. So I came up with this idea. So it's A Funny Thing Happened on the Way To, and it's the ISO edition, which means it has to be somewhere that kids can go while on isolation or in lockdown. And so we've got 35 stories from kids all around Australia, including yourself. And we have places everywhere from the fridge to the couch to the backyard to online learning to the dog park to the letterbox to pretty much everywhere around the house. It's so much fun.
That's awesome. Can't wait to see it.
Me either. It's with the designer right now, so.
Yay. How can kids join your writing group?
Okay, well, they can go to juniorwritersclub.com.au, and there's heaps of options of how kids can get involved. We've got virtual writers clubs that are run regularly during the week, as well as school holiday activities. There's online courses, as well as there's things like competitions and our annual anthology.
Ooh, that sounds awesome. I'll make sure to put those links so that everyone can join.
Fantastic, thank you.
You have just finished writing your latest manuscript, Mummy is Evil. Can you give us a spiel about it? I can't wait to read it. It's going to be awesome.
When I first got back into writing fiction back in 2012, I joined a challenge called 12 by 12 in 12. The challenge was to write 12 picture books in 12 months. And My Mummy is Evil is actually the first picture book I wrote as part of that. And my kids are now 18 and 16, but back in 2012, they were a little bit younger. And I think it was my oldest son called me evil for making him go to bed at his normal bedtime in the middle of January when it was school holidays. And so I got this idea of, the mother being some sort of an evil, someone who wants to take over the world, the evil characters and things like The Incredibles and those sorts of shows. And so I wrote this manuscript about just the usual things that parents get their kids to do. So things like going to bed on time, finishing your vegetables, having a bath every day, doing your homework, all that sort of stuff. And then, so it's about the kids saying, Mummy is evil for making me do all this sort of stuff because I'm helping her do her evil plans, basically. So it's a picture book, and I've submitted it to some publishers, so fingers crossed someone takes it up.
It's going to be awesome, and that sounds hilarious.
It's a lot of fun, and I really hope that it gets on the desk of the right person and they see it and they think it's fantastic.
I'm sure it's going to get picked up. Sounds amazing. So you are writing a chapter book about a talking watermelon.
Mm-hmm.
How is that going?
Well, it's a lot of fun. I decided that it has to be 3 wishes, because everything seems to be 3 wishes. And when you're writing for children, 3 is the magic number. So I've written the first 2 wishes, and I know what the 3rd wish is going to be. We just need to finish moving house, and then I'll get time to finish writing it. I was hoping to get it finished for my nephew's birthday, which is in a couple of weeks, but it's probably going to be his Christmas present.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And if you're moving house, you're not gonna have much time to write.
Not as much as I'd like, no.
Yeah. But that sounds awesome. And 3 is the magic letter. Like number.
3 is the magic number. Yes.
I said letter!
There you go, another blooper.
3 is the magic.
So often when you're writing for kids, you have 3 things. So like in picture books, if you look, you'll find that, often if the characters are doing things, there's 3 different things that happen.
Yeah, it's like 3 bowls of porridge. 3
exactly.
beds.
Yeah, 3 little pigs, so on. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 is just a magic number.
Yeah. Especially when you're writing for younger kids.
Yes. If you could have any dragon at all as your pet, what type would you have and why?
I think I'd have to have Bubbles, the dragon that I made up for in my book, Lizzie's Dragon. Oh. Because Bubbles is a water-breathing dragon who likes nothing more than to put out bushfires. Oh. And so during the bushfires in January, I kept thinking, they just need a dragon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He sounds like such a cool dragon. Now I must get that book. I must know more about Bubbles.
Very cool dragon.
Now we're into the speed questions. What are you writing at the moment?
What am I writing? All sorts of things. I've been finding that in Writers Group, I do the writing prompts as well. So I have been writing at least 3 little stories a week, and a lot of them have the potential to be either picture books or novels or chapter books. Ooh. So again, I'm looking forward to moving so I can have a bit more time to sit and work on some of those ideas. Because some of them are pretty silly, but some of them have the potential to be something amazing.
They sound awesome. Have you tried a new flavour of ice cream lately that you just love?
Well, when you told me about this question, I'm thinking, I don't think I have. But then I went shopping for my son yesterday and bought some ice cream. Now, my son is celiac, which means he can't have anything with gluten. And one of his favourite ice cream flavours was cookies and cream, which as a celiac, usually you wouldn't be able to have. But we discovered a type of ice cream that is gluten-free, dairy-free, and vegan-friendly that is cookies and cream flavoured.
I need to find this. I'm celiac too.
It's called Plantitude, and it was at Woolworths.
I'm looking for this, and I'm hunting it down.
And it is really nice, and it tastes like ice cream.
I need to hunt this down. Yummy. This screams to my ice cream loving soul.
And they've got other flavours too, but the cookies and cream one is the one that we usually
get. Well, I mean, cookies and cream.
Exactly.
Which book character do you or have you had a crush on?
Oh, well, the obvious would probably be Mr. Darcy, but that was more from the TV show than the book. Because when I read the book, I didn't actually like reading the book. It depends what book I'm reading at the time, because usually there's a character or two that I have a crush on in whatever book I'm reading at the time. Yeah.
What was your worst subject in school?
PE. I failed it 3 semesters in a row, and that is a real achievement.
I don't
Because
like.
all you have to do to pass PE is really just bring your PE uniform and show up and participate. And I managed to fail 3 semesters in a row. That's an achievement. Yeah, I'm not a sporty person. I wish in PE they had taught us more things like how to exercise well, like how to walk properly for exercise, or how to run properly for exercise, and some of those sorts of things, rather than just saying, right, you're going to play soccer, and then not actually explain to us the rules for the people who've never played soccer before.
Yeah, I found that was pretty common when I used to go to school.
Yeah, and that's what I found the hardest thing, was because I wasn't a sporty kid, I didn't know how to play these games. So I got very intimidated, and I actually got teased a lot, and even by teachers. So it was not a good experience for me.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if they'd done more things like, teaching you how to walk properly or run properly for exercise, and how to stretch and those sorts of things, I think it would have been much better, and it would have been a skill that I could have carried on outside of school as well.
Yeah. Who is your favourite or most inspirational author this year?
This year, I think I said Jackie French last year. This year, do I need to pick somebody different? I'm actually having a lot of fun discovering young authors like yourself who have published books. So there is a young girl who published a book called The Flood. I think her name was Pearl. She wrote it and illustrated it about the floods in Queensland, about her experience. There's also a great book called Eddie's Treasure by a young boy from Melbourne called Michael New, and he wrote it with his dad. And it's about an echidna, and he discovers some treasure, as well as the thing that he hates most about himself is the thing that helps him to find the treasure.
Aww.
And so I'm just loving discovering all these amazing young authors that are publishing great stories, and I find them all really inspirational.
They sound awesome.
Mm.
Would you prefer to be isolated on an island or in a forest?
Do I have books with me?
Let's say theoretically you washed up on a book crate.
Actually, I probably prefer a forest. I'm not a big beach person.
What's the weirdest place or thing you've gotten inspiration from for your writing?
I have a fun prompt that I do regularly with the kids, of a random item prompt, where they have to pick a random item and then I make them use that in a story. And I actually had a china teacup. That was my random item. And so I wrote a story about people stealing china teacups from people's houses.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Still don't know why they steal the china teacups, but that was going to be part of the mystery.
That's awesome.
So random items, and some of them are just totally bizarre. Like there was another one where I had a little orange bath toy, and that was my random item.
That's so cool.
And it fell on top of a wedding cake.
If you could live in any book, which one would you pick?
Oh, I think it'd be the Narnia books. I think Narnia was one of the first places I fell in love with as a reader. And I always thought that living in Narnia with all those talking animals and things would be pretty cool. As long as the White Witch wasn't there.
Oh, yeah. I would want to avoid all the villains. I would be like,
yeah,
I'm running the other way.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's your biggest achievement so far?
My biggest achievement as an author?
Personal, author, whatever suits.
Oh, that's a hard one. I reckon 2020 is a pretty big achievement, getting through it so far.
Yeah.
I've actually found that being in isolation, I've finally discovered really what my passion is and how I can turn that into a career.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I think that's a pretty big achievement.
That's a great achievement. Do you have any advice to share with young writers?
I have lots of advice, but I will condense it into a couple of little tips. One is to read. Read widely and read outside your comfort zone. So like if you love fantasy books, that is fantastic, but go and find some books in a different genre or different style. Read some picture books, read some middle grade books. You're never too old. But read widely, because that will help you understand things like story structure. It'll help you see how other writers solve problems in stories. And it's one of the best ways to learn the craft of writing is to read. The second thing is to write. Because it's just like, say for example, you want to learn the piano and you hear this amazing piece of music and and it's really complicated, like The Flight of the Bumblebee or something like that. You will practice really hard. Writing is the same. You just need to practice. And the more you practice and the more you do it, the better. And the better you'll get.
Brilliant advice. Thank you so much for letting me grill you.
No problems, anytime.
Make sure to check out Melissa Gijsbers on her social media and buy her fabulous books.